Rules are there. The minister has set his own rules and is running amok. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Communication must be called to order. Mr. Speaker, did we reset to do things worse than they happened before? Mr. Speaker, it looks like we have an Idi Amin in the making. This House will not watch for an Idi Amin to emerge at the Ministry of Communication.
I like Idi Amin. He's a nice guy. You can make your point without alleging that an Idi Amin is emerging at the Ministry of Communication. Please, don't refer to the minister as Idi Amin.
I said Idi Amin probably because of their body size. I'm making reference to, so there could be similarities.
How would you take it if you say you are as short as Nanado? You see, someone is rising up. Someone is rising up. Offended because I describe you to be as short as Nanado. I sincerely apologize and withdraw.
So the majority leader should speak to their side. When somebody from our side is speaking, he can't get up and shout. A typical example is our colleague, my respected colleague from Kwesimin team. He has done it on 2 occasions today. That is not parliamentary. People say you close down radio stations, you close down Radio Good. Even if it is the case, must we repeat the mistake? Context of your resetting. You said you were going to reset Ghana.
Why didn't the minister shut down Joy FM? Why didn't he shut down City FM? Why hasn't he shut down all the other stations that are operating in town today? Because they have valid frequency authorizations. The minister has done no wrong.
Authority. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement makes reference to the acts that established the National Communications Authority. And like many acts, Mr. Speaker, there is place for ministerial authority and supervision. Now, what those acts do, including this particular act of the NCA, is to give powers to the minister to make policy directives and interventions to enhance the work of the NCA. Mr. Speaker, no room is created for the minister to interfere in operational matters as far as the NCA Act is concerned. What we are seeing today, Mr. Speaker, is an overzealous minister who has moved beyond the policy direction by the minister and the ministry and is now dabbling in palpable frivolities. Mr. Speaker, the minister has decided to move beyond the policy directions to now direct that directors of the NCA proceed on leave. Mr. Speaker, he is also requesting for CVs of directors and staff of the NCA. Now, if ministers go beyond the policy directives and now go all the way to the staff, Mr. Speaker, then the NCA has to pack bag and baggage and go and sit at the Ministry of Communications, so that the minister will run the ministry and run the NCA, run GIFEC, run NITA, run all the agencies. Now, this is not properly situated within the meaning of what we call constitutionalism. Government according to predetermined rules. The rules are there. The minister has set his own rules and is running amok. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Communication must be called to order. Immediately so. Now, this is a minister, when he was on this side of the aisle, and some radio stations were directed to be closed down by the NCA and not the minister. Mr. Speaker, the minister who was then deputy ranking for communications, and I was a member of the communications committee, who summoned the minister. And we requested the minister to direct NCA. All manner of things took place in this house, in this hallowed chamber at the committee level, and then the press conferences that he was holding. How can that same person transmogrify himself from a defender now to the adversary? Mr. Speaker, did we reset to do things worse than they happened before? What was the essence of reset? We said we should reset in order to do things right. Now, where does the minister derive his power to ask the radio stations to be closed down when the powers that he has under the NCA Act do not come anywhere close to what he's doing? So, Mr. Speaker, what the minister is doing is to probably later on request that every promotion that will take place at NCA must be brought to the minister for him to authorize before. Even staff salaries would have to be sent to the minister for him to pay. Mr. Speaker, it looks like we have an Idi Amin in the making. We have an Idi Amin in the making. This house will not watch for an Idi Amin to emerge at the Ministry of Communication. And we are sending the signal to the Minister for Communications to relax. To relax. The exuberance is getting too much.
Hold on. Yes, leader. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I like Idi Amin. He's a nice guy. But where Idi Amin is painted as a dictator, and then a minister of state is likened to Idi Amin, it becomes an inappropriate referral of the minister. So I beg you can make your point without alleging that an Idi Amin is emerging at the Ministry of Communication. I'm just happy that he's admitting that this is not the first time a radio station is being shut down, and that even when the NPP was in office, radio stations were being shut down. But please don't refer to the minister as Idi Amin.
Yes. Mr. Speaker,
Member.
The leader of the House is the one who is putting words in my mouth. I never mentioned a dictator. I said Idi Amin probably because of their body size. I'm making reference to, so there could be similarities in the two of them. I haven't said he's a dictator. So, Mr. Speaker.
Hold on again. Yeah, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think that he ought to apologize to our colleague who is not here. To body shame him is completely unacceptable. How would you take it if you say you are as short as Nanado? How would you feel? No, how will you? You see, someone is rising up. Mr. Speaker, someone is rising up. And that is the reason why you shouldn't body shame him. And I think that you should do the needful. The list that is, well, he's not here. I will. Hold on. If you feel offended because I describe you to be as short as Nanado, I sincerely apologize and withdraw. So will you do the needful? Honorable
Mutala, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hold on. You get up.
Mr. Speaker.
Just take off that reference.
I withdrawn. He asked me whether I would do the needful, and I said that if he feels offended, I withdraw entirely. So I expect him to do the same.
Okay.
I expect him to do the same.
Very well. Honorable Tampuli, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Do away with that. The body sizing, I don't think.
Mr. Speaker.
It will be offensive. It will be offensive. So you.
Mr. Speaker, very often you find some matters are presented to the public in what you would describe as sheep in wolf skin. All right, Mr. Speaker. In this particular case, the actions of the minister comes in as a wolf as it is.
Honorable,
it's an act that is an affront,
honorable members,
to the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana.
Honorable member,
it is an action,
honorable.
What is that? Contaminates. Mr. Speaker, what the minister did.
Honorable Tampuli.
What the minister did.
Honorable Tampuli, are you listening to me? Please I withdraw that.
Mr. Speaker, I concede.
Honorable members, why? Well.
I offer my concession. Mr. Speaker.
Why? I have asked him to withdraw that statement. Please withdraw that statement. We withdraw it effectively.
Mr. Speaker, we didn't hear the word withdraw. He's used some strange word called concession. We don't know anything about concession.
Honorable,
You've been asked to withdraw, so you withdraw.
Well. Honorable, please withdraw. Let's have.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Majority Leader, sometime in 2007.
I am asking you to withdraw, please.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, I will do the needful. Mr. Speaker, I will do the needful. I just want to lay a foundation. Allow. Mr. Speaker, sometime in 2007, the Honorable Majority Leader was brought to the law school by his good friend, Professor Raymond Atuguba, to teach me. Incidentally, he taught me lawmaking process that day. So even if I won't withdraw, but for the fact that he has intervened, Mr. Speaker, I will withdraw because of him. I will withdraw, not because of you. Mr. Speaker, the action of the Minister for Communications. Mr. Speaker, the action of the Minister for Communications, if allowed to stand, is going to set a very bad precedent. And one day when the tables turn, which it will turn in 2028, Mr. Speaker, they are likely to face the wrath of another minister from our side who is likely to do the same thing. So this act, Mr. Speaker, it violates and contaminates the Constitution. It contaminates the NCA Act and other extant laws of the Republic of Ghana. And Mr. Speaker, I endorse the recommendations that have been made by the Member of Parliament from Price. So I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well. Yes, Honorable Professor Yinsu. Leader, what is it? Okay.
Speaker, I think this is not fair. The Honorable Member for Kwesimintim, he gets up and shouts. Speaker, our side, tries to comport ourselves. Speaker, I think some caution, and the majority leader should also talk to his people. When somebody from our side gets up to speak, and they get up and shout, it's not right. Speaker, that was the reason why I got up to catch your attention. The majority leader should speak to their side. When somebody from our side is speaking, he can't get up and shout. A typical example is our colleague, my respected colleague from Kwesimintim. He has done it on 2 occasions today. That is not parliamentary. And I respect him. He shouldn't do that. Speaker, take a particular attention to that. He was asked to withdraw. He has withdrawn. He shouldn't just get up and shout. It's not right.
Thank you very much. Professor Yinsu, please take the floor. Minister, sit down.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me to make this statement. Mr. Speaker, the issue in discussion is about body shaming, and I think that the Honorable must withdraw and apologize to the Honorable Minister. Mr. Speaker, as women, we go through body shaming a lot. And it is a big gender issue that needs to be addressed. If the Honorable Minister had an issue with the Honorable Communications Minister, I truly believe that he could have addressed it without talking about his body habitus. It is people have mental health issues precisely from body shaming, and I truly believe that he needs to apologize and withdraw. Thank you.
That issue, okay, if you have concluded, that's fine. So, no, let me give it to
Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the opportunity for my voice to count on this occasion. I commend my brother for bringing this matter very respectfully to the attention of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, when a minister of state, whose business, among others, should be creating jobs for the people of this country, is given directive that is not only going to let Ghanaians lose jobs, but government lose revenue through taxation, then, Mr. Speaker, the minister is committing an economic sabotage. He is committing an economic sabotage that businesses set up by Ghanaians to undertake communication business, Mr. Speaker, he is saying that should be closed down. And it's very important that we look at the fact that the minister, when he was sworn into office in less than a month, is yet to create any job for the people of this country apart from jobs that he's revoking. Mr. Speaker, we should take serious interest in this matter, especially because the infraction is against an act which was passed by this House. An act, very respectfully, that this House vested power in the National Communications Authority. The minister is usurping it. Mr. Speaker, on all fours, on all fronts, the minister's action is against the interest of this country and is worthy of interrogation by this House. Mr. Speaker, the attention of this House has been drawn to the fact that the minister's power under the National Communications Authority is only limited to policy. Very respectful. It's not for nothing that, Mr. Speaker, in creating the power or in creating the institution of NCA, Mr. Speaker, we deliberately limited it that way. Mr. Speaker, it was also because we're mindful of Article 23 of the Constitution. We're mindful of Article 296 of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, this action is very, very bad and should not be encouraged. Mr. Speaker, we risk setting bad precedent that the minister is closing businesses.
Mr. Speaker, all those who have spoken, I have not heard anybody read the official communication of the minister closing any particular radio station.
I hope I'll come to you so that...
No. It's important. When you misinform the House, when you mislead the House, I don't have to wait till it's my turn to correct the records. None of them has laid in this House the communication directing the suspension of operations of these radio stations. None of them. That is the minister's statement. That's the minister's statement. What does the statement say, Mr. Speaker? The statement says that the directive to shut down the station is issued in accordance with Section 13(1)(e) of the Electronic Communications Act, which empowers the National Communications Authority to suspend or revoke frequency authorizations in the interest of national security, public order, or the public interest. So who suspended? Who revoked it? The National Communication Authority. The National Communication Authority. It is the National Communication Authority. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, and that was done based on a report of the Regional Security Council.
Honorable Leader, respectfully, I wouldn't like to cut you short, but please, I'll give you the opportunity as leaders to conclude. So let me, Honorable Menchia South, if you can conclude.
Mr. Speaker, it is even worse the elucidation given on this matter by the distinguished majority leader, the Venerable, even makes this matter worse. Because, Mr. Speaker, there is an admission that that power belongs to the NCA. Nevertheless, there is a directive compelling the NCA to take a certain path. Mr. Speaker, when we all know that the NCA, the minister's power as regards the NCA is limited to policy. Mr. Speaker, it is without a doubt that that is not the policy. Or, Mr. Speaker, are we saying that the policy going forward will be to shut down radio stations? Is that, Mr. Speaker, are we saying that the policy going forward will be for the minister to be directing NCA to shut down radio stations? Mr. Speaker, is that going to be the policy? They should let us know. Mr. Speaker. Address. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. In concluding, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. In bringing my submission to an end, Mr. Speaker, most of these things are happening because there's still no committees in place. Mr. Speaker, if there were to be a committee in place that will have an oversight responsibility over the National Communications Authority, Mr. Speaker, it appears that the delay in constituting committees in this House, Mr. Speaker, is to enable them and is to enable the majority and the ruling government, Mr. Speaker, to evade accountability. Mr. Speaker, left to me alone, my position will be that even the vetting processes, Mr. Speaker, should be halted until committees, very respectfully, are constituted. It appears that the delay in constituting committees is enabling, is facilitating, is giving the majority and the ruling government the energy, Mr. Speaker, to commit illegalities, just as the communication minister is doing. So, Mr. Speaker, very respectfully, it is very critical that this matter, Mr. Speaker, is interrogated and the illegality resolved, especially since it concerns the breach of a law that this House has passed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I'll come to leadership. Leadership. Yes, let me start with minority leader then, or you want to start? Yes, minority chief whip.
Speaker, I think as a House we need to interrogate this matter properly. The Honorable David Sopoku has brought a very important subject matter. We all know the essence of checks and balances, and Article 23 of the 1992 Constitution, what it talks about, the need for administrative body to respect laws in our country. I thought that the minister in his early days will focus on the promise and the manifesto of the NDC. Definitely, the Ministry of Communication should be looking at the cost of data. Certainly, they should be looking at mobile network connectivity. Certainly, they should be looking at their digital economy and innovation, e-governance services. These are the narrative that should be engaging his attention. I am surprised that out of the blue, the closure of radio station has become a matter of importance to the minister. It's quite unfortunate. What are we seeking to do? The maker of the statement is basically bringing the matter to the fore for us to engage these matters. If indeed he's within the law, of course, then let's speak to the fact. As far as we understand, and the fact before us, we think the minister has gone in excess of his powers. That is what we are saying. He's gone beyond the excess of his powers. As we got, if you contain me, let me just read portions of the release. The Honorable Minister for Communication, and it is captioned Enforcement action against unauthorized broadcasting operations. Amongst others, the Honorable Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation has directed the acting Director General of the National Communication Authority. In what capacity is he directing the NCA? To take immediate enforcement action against the following entities for operating without valid blah blah blah, and goes on. Speaker, the relevant word there is directing. As to whether the minister has those powers, we need to, that is what we are seeking to interrogate. As we are an arm of government, and interestingly, the minister is a member of this house. Earlier speakers have referenced his comment when similar actions were taken in times past and the position he took. And his position now smacks of hypocrisy. Because this is the thrust of the matter. The minister must come to this house. He was approved by this house. He was given the mandate by this house. He must come and report to this house. We need to hear from him where he's getting those powers to direct the NCA to take such draconian actions. As a house, we must come together and invite the minister for him to appear and come and do a proper representation before the house, and for us to interrogate these actions. We are building a democracy, and it's important we learn from incidents that have happened before. And I hear people say, during your time, you closed down Radio Gold. These are baseless defense. I hear people say, you closed down radio stations, you closed down Radio Gold. Even if it is the case, must we repeat the mistakes? We mustn't do that. We must move ahead as a nation. In the context of your resetting, you said you were going to reset Ghana, and Ghanaians are giving you the mandate. Speaker, without adding more, I think that the minister should focus on what can change the narrative. E-governance, reduction of cost of data, building network connectivity. Ghanaians are still worried about network connectivity, and this is what should be attracting his attention. Because I think we will employ your consequential directives that ASAP, the Honorable Minister for Communication, should be programmed. And because he shouldn't go beyond Friday. He must come before this house, tell us the reasoning behind his action, and come and show this house where he's drawing his powers by directing the NCA to take such illegal actions against certain entities. Because without adding more, I think anybody who wants to comment, and earlier on, the majority leader tried to catch your attention, and he was reading something else. He should quote. This is a copy, and Speaker, I'm ready to tender this. I want to tender it. He should quote from the release from the minister, and then we can make a proper debate on this subject matter. I thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Let me.
Please, table office. I want to tender this.
Let me invite the majority leader.
Leader, you should have a copy. I want to tender it, and let it be a reference.
I think that this is a very simple matter, and I'm surprised that the very valuable time of this house is spent discussing a matter that is so simple and straightforward. Mr. Speaker, this is the basis of the statement and the comments that have been made so far. I ask for your kind permission to read it, just to read it. And I'm happy that we have people who understand English listening. Mr. Speaker, listen carefully. It says that the Honorable Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations has directed the Acting Director General of the National Communications Authority, NCA, to take immediate enforcement action against the following entities for operating without valid frequency authorizations. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, directing the acting director general of an agency under the minister to take immediate enforcement action against the following entities for operating without valid frequency authorizations. Mr. Speaker, what I hear from the other side is not that it is the case that they had license. They are not insisting that they had license. They are also not denying that they operated without frequency authorization. They are not denying. I haven't heard them deny the whole day. I haven't heard them deny that they operated without appropriate frequency authorization. Mr. Speaker, I remember that one of the oaths that we swore in this house is to uphold and enforce the laws of this country. Even if the minister had not directed, I expected you honorable members of parliament, to direct any officer who is supervising radio stations that are operating without frequency authorization. You, as patriotic citizens, as lawmakers, you have made a law that says that to operate a radio station, you must have frequency authorization. You made the law. And somebody is running a radio station, operating it without frequency authorization. And the minister dutifully directs that the law should be enforced. And you come to this house and say that we shouldn't close early and have lunch because of that matter. Mr. Speaker, they are asking how did the minister know? Because they don't know that on this side, we appointed people who are so competent that nothing will pass by them. Mr. Speaker, the minister is so competent that they didn't think he would know that those stations were operating without frequency authorization. And when the minister gets to know within 10 days of sitting in that office, they are surprised. They are mesmerized. We have the men and the women who are capable of doing the job. Within 10 days, they got to know. And he's enforcing the law. I don't understand why you are complaining. A minister is simply directing that enforce the law. What do you expect a minister to do? So please, I'm surprised that you will make the minister the subject of castigation, of unnecessary attacks, trying to question his competence, when all the minister is saying in this communication is that Director General enforce the law, because these stations are operating without frequency authorization. How is that an offense? How is that a matter for which the minister should be summoned to this house to come and answer? Are you trying to intimidate ministers and prevent them from doing their jobs? Is that what you're trying to do? The minister will shut down the stations today. Tomorrow he will shut them down. Tomorrow next he will shut them down. If they want, they should go for authorization. He will